Okay, so in the chat, I've just put some links. So actually, if Maurice, you can just put the next slide. Yeah, so before, just while we're waiting for the rest to join, just to share more about this is part of our HR webinar series that we have. Today's session is on managing employees' performance, but we do have other webinar series as well. The next one is going to be on understanding the Employment Act, which is going to be on 7 July next month. And then, of course, after that, we'll be developing employees. So you can sign up for them if you're interested. We do conduct free Ask Me Anything sessions as well, whereby you can ask Maurice here, our HR consultant, if you have any questions about HR. These are usually small group sessions. You can sign up on LinkedIn. And we do have Employment Act course we run as well. And lastly, if you would, we have some HR resources that we have developed.
Uriti, your voice is breaking up.
Are you able to hear me?
It's very soft.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, that's better now.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just saying that lastly, we do have the HR guides that we have developed. So on employment contract, recruitment practices, and onboarding practices. So if you'd like, you can always send me an email and I'll put it in the chat as well. So without further ado, I think it's 3:02 and we'll just start the session for today. Thanks everyone for joining us for today's session again this afternoon. So this, as I just shared briefly, for those who have just joined, this is part of a webinar series that we have on foundational HR webinars. So this is actually a series just to help to, to really get the foundations for the HR, anything related to HR foundational series. Here's the housekeeping that's just before we get started. Firstly, is the record that this webinar will be recorded, but not to worry that anything here, all your information is confidential. It will only be shared on the YouTube page. Also, if you have any questions, do type them in the Q&A box. Also, for today's session, there's not so many people. So, if you'd want, we can, just raise up your hands if you want to ask any questions, and we can make it sort of like just a small closed group session as well. So do raise your hand and we'll give you the permission to talk. So do let us know if you have any questions, or, of course, just put them in the Q&A chat as well as by the orange arrow here indicated, and Maurice here will be able to answer your questions. The polls questions as well, that feature, we will be launching poll questions throughout the session just to understand you better and make it more interactive for today's session. There is a survey at the end of today's webinar also. And of course, as for all our webinars, we do have a preview, which is a free 1-hour HR consulting that you are eligible for after today's session. So I'll just hand it over to Maurice now, a HR consultant for today's session. Over to you, Maurice.
Thank you. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
For those who have been joining my webinar, welcome back. For those new participants, welcome also. And a little bit about myself. I have been an ex-HR director, and I've been in HR for more than 38 years. I have been working in many multinationals, entering the Asia-Pacific region. And last 4 years, I've been doing HR consulting for SMEs, both in Singapore and overseas. I also have been a very active trainer for many years with many of the HR training providers like SNEF, SHRI, HR Singapore, etc. All right. So let's get into today's topic. I will touch a little bit about ourselves, and also introduction to performance management, and then performance appraiser. Is there a difference between performance management and performance appraiser? And also how you conduct performance review, how you manage the good performer and the poor performer, and how NuSmart can help you. So a little bit about New Vista and NuSmart. NuSmart is part of New Vista, which was established in 2002. New Vista is basically a cloud-based integrated IT solution and is a NetSuite partner since 2012. NuSmart is the HRMS of New Vista. It started in 2015 using NetSuite platform, and it has a full suite of HR modules, and we have already implemented to more than 30 customers across 10 countries. Our HRMS, or HR software, comprises of recruitment, payroll, attendance, leave, training, performance, expenses, assets, and so forth, and is available both on the web portal and mobile application as well as tablet. Besides having the HRMS, we also do have HR consulting and payroll outsourcing services. So for those companies who are in need of such services, please feel free to approach us. All right, just drop us an email. Now, let's get started to today's session. There are quite a number of slides, so I will go through some of them now. Now, what is performance management? Performance management is a term that gained popularity in the 1980s. It comes out from the total quality management programs, and it is to do with the standard and quality of performance. According to Armstrong, okay, performance management is both a strategic and an integrated approach to delivering successful results in the organization by improving the of individuals. So this is very important to understand what is performance management. It is to deal with improving employees' performance and developing their capability. All right. So please understand the purpose. So the purpose of performance management covers three areas. One is on the strategic side. So you try to link in employees' performance and activities with the organization goals. You also look at the administrative side of things to help management to look at salary increase, promotion, bonuses, and so forth. And lastly, the other purpose of performance management is to develop employees to make them more capable, more effective in their job. So performance management is basically looking at defining performance, right? Looking at measuring at performance, and then giving feedback to the employee about their performance. So it's all have to do with performance, okay, work performance. Now, is there a difference between performance management and performance appraisal? Well, as I mentioned earlier, performance management is dealing with the performance of employee. It is a process, an integrated approach, okay, to meet business objective. Performance appraisal, on the other hand, is concerned with rating or assessing the past performance of an individual. Right? So there is a difference. Performance management looks at the whole performance of an individual, both the past, the present, and the future. Whereas performance appraisal only looks at the past performance, last year performance of an individual. So let's look at performance appraisal. Okay, this is where many of us were conduct during our annual exercise for the employees. Okay. So performance appraisal is a process where we look at an employee's strengths and weaknesses, as we mentioned. Okay, performance management, we look at how we can develop, okay, or improve the employees' performance, and how we can develop their capability. And it's usually a periodic review. Okay, so some performance appraisal is on an annual basis, 1 year. Some companies may do it twice a year, biannually. Okay, so it all depends on the company. And many a times, performance appraisal is an exercise of observation and judgment. Okay, the manager will observe. All right, there may be some record here and there. All right, but mainly it's observation. And there will be a feedback process where managers will talk to the employees to provide feedback of their performance and what to improve. There will be also organization intervention, okay, to say whether the employee can continue their employment with the company, okay, or should they leave the organization. Okay. Of course, it's a measurement process, and it's a very intensive emotional process. All right, when it comes to performance review, when you have performance discussion between managers and employee, usually it's very emotional. So later on in the webinar, I will talk about some of the different emotions that will surface during performance appraisal. And it's also provide a record of employees' performance history. Okay, so it's good to keep track of the employees' performance throughout the year. Of course, during the performance appraisal, we will also look at future. What kind of performance is expected in the near future from the employee? What do they need to achieve? What do they need to improve? What are the resources, the training that are needed to help the employees to improve? Okay. We also will be looking at pay increase to be paid in the coming year for the employee, if there is any. We will also identify improvements that are planned for the realization in the future. Okay, what are the improvements that is needed? And many a times, okay, very often, okay, performance review is always seen as a dead, unredeemable past. So that means whatever is done in the past is over. No point crying over spilled milk, okay? So there's nothing that you can do to improve the past performance. What you have to do is improve the future performance. Okay, that's what always performance appraisal is all about. Improving future, not the past. Whatever is done is done. Okay. Now, there was some question that was asked, managing employee punctuality and attitude, is it part and parcel of performance appraisal or performance management? Okay. This is many companies' mistake to put punctuality and attitude as part and parcel of performance appraisal. Yes, punctuality and attitude do affect an employee performance, but it is not a performance by itself. Okay, so bear in mind, when we look at performance appraisal, there are two things that you all have to be very aware of. One is poor performance, the other one is poor conduct. When we do performance appraisal, we are looking at poor performance or good performance, which are work-related. Okay? Performance that are work-related. Conduct, on the other hand, is very, very much related to behavior or attitude. So punctuality and attitude, these are behavior. It is not work-related. It is behavior-related. So performance appraisal, when you look at very objectively, it is reviewing work. It's not reviewing behavior. Okay? So as much as possible, try to avoid assessment factors like punctuality, okay, and so forth. Okay, attitude. So having good attitude, what's another word that is related to attitude for work performance? It is initiative or creativity or innovation or innovative. So these are the words that are more work related. Attitude is not. Attitude is behavior. And you know that it is much easier to improve work performance than attitude or behavior. Right? If someone is not having good performance because they lack of certain skill set, certain knowledge, you can send them for training, okay, or you can guide them, coach them. But if someone is bad in their behavior or have very poor attitude, by attending a training, by attending courses, okay, by guiding them, it's very difficult to change or to make them improve. Okay? It takes a long time. So therefore, when we look at performance appraisal, we usually are more concerned with work related where we can improve, okay, immediate, okay, with short time frame. So therefore, managing employees' punctuality and attitude, or should they be considered as part of performance assessment? My answer is no, it should not. It has some influence on performance, but it should not be considered because these factors are very hard to change over time. By giving them training or helping them to make improvement will take a long, long time. So what is poor performance? Okay, basically poor performance is, okay, where work-related performance fall below an acceptable level in terms of quality and quantity. Okay, so this is how we measure performance. Where do we say when someone is poor? How do we know someone is poor? Having poor performance. When someone's having performance means that their performance has fallen below an acceptable level in terms of the quality of work and the quantity of work, or it can be both. And of course, there are two types of performance appraisal that are being practiced. One is open, one is closed. Most of you are very familiar with this term, open appraisal, closed appraisal. Now, of course, in many companies, we are usually practicing open appraisal, but there are still some companies, even in Singapore, still practice closed appraisal. All right. So when we say open appraisal here, we are referring to where you have done your performance rating assessment, and then the manager will share the assessment and give feedback to the employees. Okay, what are the areas that he or she is good at? What are the areas or factors that she or he is not good at, and what to improve? So this is open. It's open communication, open discussion. Closed appraisal is where the manager will do the appraisal, and then they will not disclose it to the employee. So the employee will not know what are his or her weaknesses or what are the areas that he or she is good at. So, but there are still companies that practice closed appraisal. I'm not sure if any of the participants here, does your company practice open or closed appraisal? Anyone still using closed appraisal system? If you are, then maybe you can put in the chat yes, just say yes, then we will know. All right. Then if there are companies that are practicing closed appraisal system, then one should ask yourself, why? Why is my company using closed appraisal? Okay. Well, there are some companies that are using closed appraisal because of the company culture. All right. It has all along been closed, so they would never want to open it. Sometimes it's because of boss has the final say, So the big boss, okay, the owner. So everything the owner decide. Right? Sometimes it's because of sensitivity. Sometimes it's to minimize unhappiness, morale issues, okay, and to prevent argument. So some companies, management are very afraid of unhappiness, morale issue. Then they will say, let's not open our appraisal. Let's not get into big argument. Sometimes they want to avoid comparison among employees. So, after appraisal, employees will check with one another, hey, what is your scoring? Because many of them know that if they get a good scoring, at the end of the day, they can get good pay, okay? Pay increase or big bonuses. So they will always tend to compare. And then they will find that if they have marked down, then they will go back to their managers and start to argue again, and hopefully convince the manager to revise and give them a better rating. So sometimes fake performance. So as you know, some companies do performance appraisal only once a year at the end of the year or beginning of the year. So what happened in between the year, managers may not have good memories. Okay. As I mentioned in the few early slides, that when you do performance appraisal, it's mainly through observation and judgment. I know many managers do not keep a black book or a record of their employees' performance. Okay. They will try to remember what have the employees done good during the early months, and many a time they fail to think of any. Okay. Then, of course, close appraisal is very easy to administer. Okay. There's nothing to share with the employees. There's nothing to record. There's nothing to document, to prepare. Everything is closed. Okay. Very easy to administer. Sometimes it's due to the maturity of the employees. They are not mature enough to accept certain things, okay, certain systems, certain approaches. So sometimes you come across different types of employees with different emotion. And these emotion employees are the ones that are not mature enough to understand. So therefore, try not to use close appraisal because it's only a one-way communication. It will not help employees to improve their performance because nothing is shared. And usually there is very little chance of building good rapport between the managers and the employees because of the close appraisal. And what employees want from the companies or expectation from about their expectation, managers do not know. So it's very, very inward. Employees are not allowed to voice anything and so forth. So these are the kind of things that should not be practiced because it lacks employee engagement. And if you have a close appraisal, sometimes it's not good for your company because you will not be able to retain employee for long. When you're doing appraisal, you need to know the different rating effects. As a HR, what do you do when you get all the performance appraisal return from managers? So some HR just tally up the score and so forth. They do not even look through. Okay? They do not even review what the managers has evaluated or written and so forth. As a good HR, you should look through all the performance appraisal and see what their manager's rating style is. And if you find that they are not good, then you, as a HR profession, you have to go back to the managers and ask them to redo. Okay, so some managers tend to be very lenient. They have the halo effect. Angel, halo means angel, the saint. So they are very kind-hearted. Everything is very good, outstanding. Okay, everybody in their department is all very good. There's no poor performance, no average performance. Okay, everyone is very good. So this is a manager that you have to be very careful. Okay. So please take note. There are quite a number of questions in the chat that ask whether we can share the slides. Sure, we can share the slides with the participant. Just send an email to UDT and she will send the slides to you. So when you come across such manager, please tell them, okay, be a bit more strict. You cannot have everybody very good. So among the very good, who are the better one and who are the not so good one? All right. So re-evaluate them. So at the end of the day, you must have a little bit of, I don't say complete bell curve. If they have no unsatisfactory people, it's okay. But at least they must be an average, the very good, and very few excellent. Then on the other hand, you get managers who are very strict, where we have the devil. Everything to them is no good. Their expectation is very high. If you do certain things, they expect you to do much more. All right, so they are very strict. And usually they will not give very good rating. And in this case, as a HR, you need to go back to the manager and tell them to be a bit more generous. All right. If not, at the end of the day, no employees will want to work for such manager. Too strict. All right. Then it will not be good for the employees. So sometimes as manager, you need to balance. You cannot be too generous. At the same time, you cannot be too strict. You need to be fair. All right. When it's areas where they are weak at, say they are weak. If there are areas that they are good at, say they are good. All right. Don't bluff. At the end of the day, who will benefit from this performance appraisal? It is the employees as well as the manager. Because when you help the employees to improve, and when the employee improve, they will do more, and the manager will be able to do less. Okay. And then, of course, we have the many managers that are sitting on the fence. Central tendency. Everybody is average. Okay. They don't like to mark people very good. They don't like to mark people very bad. They don't want to answer to queries. They don't want to have to be justifying certain things. So everybody is average. Nobody good, nobody bad. So you all cannot compare. Why I mark this good, mark this bad. So everybody equal. So they are sitting on the fence. So this is also no good. It doesn't help the employees. Employees will not know where is the actual weaknesses, what are the areas that they need to improve, and what are the areas that they are doing well and should keep doing well. So be very careful. If you see such rating effect, do correct them. Tell the managers to redo the appraisal. It needs to be very fair and transparent. Okay. So these are the three very common ones. Most of you will know. Then you have the contrast where the managers tends to compare. Okay, so what they do is they will appraise one employee first. Okay, and that employee become the benchmark. And then they will take the next employee that they're appraising and compare it with the first one that they have done, and then see whether this person has done better than what the first one has done or worse off. Okay, that's no good. Okay, as a manager, you must not compare one employee with another. You must assess the employee by themselves. That means you judge the employee individually. Where are his area of weaknesses and strength? All right. So don't compare. Don't, because the first employee you met, the communication has very good, and everybody must meet that standard to get very good. All right. So don't do that. You mark according to what's the rating in the appraisal form. Then, of course, they have the recency error. This is what I mentioned just now earlier. Managers are very forgetful people. They cannot remember the performance of their staff in between the year. They only can remember the last few months, especially good things that the employees has done. All good things are hard to remember, but employees who did something bad, okay, in the early years or in between the years, the manager will remember forever. But for all good deeds, manager doesn't. Okay, so manager will always tend to appraise the employees on their performance in the last few months, maybe starting from August, September, October, November, December. Anything before August, they forget. All right. So what happened then? Okay. So if my employees are aware that their managers tend to have this recency error in their performance appraisal, then what will they do? During the early parts of the year, they don't want to perform very well. They are mediocre. Then come towards the end of the year, August, September, October, they will be like a turbo jet, full blast. Their performance will be right up to the top, okay? So that they will be in the manager's good books. So last few months, they will run and dash and try to outspring all the other colleagues in the department. Okay, so there are some employees who do that. And finally, the last one is the spillover effect. Okay, a lot of managers will go to HR. Can I have the last year performance appraisal of my employees? Then I will base on that to rate their this year. Don't allow the managers to have last year rating. They have to start fresh and relook at their employees, okay, based on this year performance. Don't let them compare again last year. Last year is last year, it's gone, okay? You have to redo a new one. So bear that in mind. So as HR, when you get back the performance appraisal forms and so forth, it doesn't mean that your job is just to collate all the ratings and try to form a bell curve. As HR managers and so forth, you need to check the ratings of the individual managers on the employees. Make sure they are not displaying any of the rating effects. They are not too generous, not too strict. Don't sit on the fence. Okay, don't compare and so forth. So if they do, then you have to go back to them and ask them to re-rate again. So HR, your job is very important, because if the managers doesn't do well, then the employees will suffer, because they will not be able to get the true picture of their strengths and weaknesses. I will pause here for a while and open to the floor if you have any question before I continue. If you have, please type in to the chat or raise your hand and we will unmute you. No? Okay, I will continue. Now, we have spoken about performance management. We have spoken about performance appraisal. Now is conducting the performance review session. All right. Of course, when you are doing performance appraisal, you make sure that they are most performance structure, appraisal structure will be the first part. You will have to set goals, SMART goals, and then it's communicated, agreed, and then they will have the performance indicator or performance factor that you have to appraise on. All right. So setting goals, okay, everybody know what is SMART. But one thing that I would like to highlight, okay, that many of times when people set goals, all right, oh, what are your goals for next year? I want to make sure I submit the report on time, all right? That is not a goal, and that's your job, all right? So goals are something that you need to improve. There must be improvement. Okay, you must come up with a goals that has to do with improvement or something setting up something new. Then that is called goals, SMART goals. So I want to make sure I submit my HR report or I do my HR metrics and submit punctually to the management. That's not right. So you need to talk about, okay, maybe improving the format, improving the layout, the display, something like that, making improvements, okay? And of course, in terms of the other things, managers and employees need to communicate frequently about the expectation in terms of their performance. So having a job description is very important. Job description to lay down the job responsibilities and the competency and so forth. So it is a document that is very much related to performance review, all right? So that's where managers and employees will discuss about each other expectation, all right? So you know what are SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based, all right? And then when you're doing your performance review, having your discussion, make sure you set the right climate, okay? Choose the right time, the right day to discuss about performance, all right? Don't try to conduct a performance appraisal. Everybody is trying to go back at 5, all right? Or trying to set a performance appraisal at 8:30 early in the morning, okay? Make sure you review the job performance, okay? Judge performance and not people, okay? So we are talking about work performance of a person, okay? Not their character, not their, not their character, not their behavior or attitude, but work. Everything must be work related. And during the discussion, encourage employees to participate. Okay? It is very important to get them to participate and discuss about their strengths and weaknesses, what they can do and so forth. It should not be a one-way discussion, okay? And look at the problem area, all right? Look at the problem area and talk about the problem. Don't talk about the person, talk about the problem. Go over your ratings one by one. Don't rush and explain why you give certain ratings, why you mark a person good or bad. All right. And ask them if they have done something that is not good, how they can improve. Okay? What should be done to correct and improve their performance. Okay? And listen to what they have to say. Sometimes people performance drop, not because they cannot perform well, but it could be due to certain circumstances, maybe due to company business, or the environment, the industry, the country economy, and so forth. Sometimes it is not within their control that they cannot perform well. So do listen to them, listen to the explanation. All right. Avoid criticism. Okay. Do not criticize people. Nobody likes to be criticized, so don't criticize. All right. And then finally, talk about the tasks, the goals, the standard that you want the person to meet or to excel or to achieve the next year. Okay. No point crying over the speed made last year. Look forward. What do you want them to do in the new year? And what do you want them to achieve in the new year? And remember to be very friendly, all right, to your employees, all right, to your staff. So this is things that as a manager needs to understand, need to ensure that they have this during the performance discussion, then the discussion will go well. So, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to performance appraisal, there are many emotions. All right. I'm not sure when any of you have come across such employees. If you have, which are the top 3 emotions or difficult employees that you have encountered? We have just launched a poll. Please take the top 3 that you have come across or deal with or are very common in your company. All right. So let me explain. Hard to convince individuals. These are employees when you tell them, oh, you're not very good at your communication skill. Who tell you so? Who say I'm not good at communication? Tell me, where are the areas that are in terms of poor communication? Give me an example. Okay? So they will want you to justify. Okay? Give evidence, give event to show that they are not doing well in that area. And then there are employees who are not committed. Oh, your communication skill is bad. Oh, okay. Okay, I will improve on it. Okay. So these are some individual. Okay, so most of you are hard to convince, the non-commitment, and employer who threaten to resign. Okay. Oh, and of course, the last one is the difficult employees has the highest score. Okay. So you will come across all this, all right? And I will teach you how to handle such people. So non-commitment, they will not want to commit. Okay, can you help? Can you improve on your communication skill? Yes. And how do you improve? Okay, I don't know. I will improve, but at this moment, no idea. Okay, so these are the non-commitment type. Easy to convince individual. Oh, your communication skill is very bad. Oh, I agree. Everything also agree. Okay, any issue? No issue. Any problem? No problem. Everything okay? Yes. Let's move on. Okay. And of course, we have the quick-tempered individual who get angry easily, which is also quite similar to the hard to convince. They will raise their voice. Who say my communication is bad? Not such thing. And of course, then you have the nervous type of individual, very shy, very nervous. I think your communication skill is not very good. I think very soft-spoken, very shy. Okay, I'll try my best to improve. Okay, so these are the nervous type. Does not want to speak a lot, does not want to communicate. And then there are the impatient type. Okay, you will just brush you off. Yeah, I agree. My communication is bad. I will improve on it. Okay, the next year I'll go and take some training, and then I'll go. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, and of course, most people are marked on this as one of their difficult one. Yeah, and you say that bad. Okay, then I'll resign. Okay, I'll resign. But then comes tomorrow, he's back to work. Okay, and of course, the last one is the most difficult employees. Here, it means it can be hard to convince. They never accept anything that you say. You ask them, do you have any idea how to improve? No. Okay. Then they will tell you why you mark me communication, okay, poor, and someone else is better than me. Why and this, why is that? They will tend to compare, they will want you to justify, and so forth. So these are the very difficult employees. So you may come across different style of employees when you talk to them. So I do hope that you all agree to my explanation of the different type of employees. All right. So what do you do? How do you handle them? Well, let me give you my way of doing things. Very simple. Very simple. And I call it the 3 golden rules. Okay, or 3 golden principles. First, when you do performance review, you are going to talk about good and bad, the strength and weaknesses. So always remember to start on the right footing. That is maintain and enhance self-esteem. All right. Don't, in the first opening speech, you'll go and blah, 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 all the negative things. Oh, Sam, your communication is bad and your work performance is no good and this and that. When people listen to all the negative things from the start, they tend to switch off. They tend to oppose, okay? Or they tend to defend themselves already. They will not want to cooperate. So never start with the negative. Always try to start with the positive things. Hi John, I hope you have a good day. Okay, how's things doing? I noticed that you have been working hard, all right, and putting in a lot of effort. That's a good job. And say some praises and so forth before you move on to the performance rating, all right? And most important thing is listen and respond with empathy, all right? In the performance appraisal, in performance review, who should do more of the talking? It should be the employee, not the manager. The manager just have to tell them, oh, these are your strengths and these are your weaknesses. Okay? And the employees must then raise out their issues, their problems, and managers will listen. Okay? So manager job is not to blah, 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 but to listen. But unfortunately, many managers fail in this aspect. They don't listen. they talk more than the employees, making the employees very frustrated. That's why they start to get emotional. So it's good that managers must learn to talk less during performance appraisal and listen more to the employees, who will then have to justify why they have done certain things well. Okay, what did they do that has been good, or why are they doing certain things that is not good? What are their weaknesses and how they can improve? And last thing is ask for help in solving the problem. So what do you mean by ask for help? Ask who to help. Ask the employee. They are doing the work. They know the problem. They know the obstacle. They should be the one coming up with the solution, not the manager. For managers, you don't recommend improvement. Okay, you ask the employee, what can they improve? How can they improve? When can they improve? Let them come up with the solution. If they cannot come up with the solution, then the managers can jump in to help and propose certain measures, certain solution. But at the end of the day, it is best that the employees themselves come up with a solution, then they'll be more committed. If I come up with a solution, I have the ownership, I will be more committed. So these are my 3 golden rules. Try to practice it during the performance appraisal. You'll be surprised how well it will work. Okay, I have done this many times for different type of employees with different emotion, and it always works well. Okay, just 3 golden simple rules. All right, any question before I move on to the last session? Right, the last part is how you manage top and poor performance. Well, of course, for good performance, it's quite easy. Those who done well, usually what companies tend to do, monetary award, merit increase, okay? Extra percentage of annual increase above the average people. In terms of bonuses, they will get more. They will have opportunity for promotion. Some companies will give individual recognition awards, employee awards, annual awards. So some companies, they will even offer stock option if they have stocks and shares in their companies. So these are things that are monetary, that are always given to good performer. Of course, good performer, you can also give in terms of certificates, trophy, okay, plaques, and so forth. You can get them to be a role model to new recruits, to mentor new people, new employees. You can send them for trainings, okay, prepare them for future position. Okay, so these are their development plan. All right. So the training here is more for development, okay, not for to improve their strength anymore, but for further learning new areas. So maybe for the finance, they may go and learn something about HR. For the IT, they may go and learn something about finance and so forth. Cover new areas. Okay. So seminars, workshops, encourage them to keep themselves appraised of the new things, learn new practices, hear what other companies are putting in place, new things that maybe they can adopt in their companies. Okay. So if they don't go and attend and listen to what is the new practice in the market, then they will not be able to come up with new ideas in the company to improve their processes. All right. So sometimes it's good to attend seminars and workshops. Some companies will give their top performers incentive trips, tours to other countries. Unfortunately, not these 2 years because of COVID. All right. But when good times, things are good. People like the insurance industry, okay, the banks, financial services, they always award their top salespeople with incentive trips. And of course, sometimes in certain companies, you enroll their top performers for national competition, and hopefully they can get certain awards and being mentioned in the press and so forth. All right, so these are good performance, that how you manage them. It's very easy. There's nothing much to say. But what about poor performer? This is where people always struggle. How do I improve poor performer? Okay. For performance management to be effective, okay, for performer, they should not be receiving any reward anymore. Once they are marked as poor performance, you should not try to reward them in terms of monetary or non-monetary. All right. So if you still reward them, then you are sending the wrong signal. You can perform poor and you still can get rewarded. You can still get merit increase and so forth. That is not good. Of course, in terms of annual increment, yes, they can still get the annual, but normal, okay? Whatever is normal, below the average, all right? To cover the cost of living. They will not get zero increment, but maybe very bare minimum to cover the cost of living. Right? But they should not be getting any merit, or in terms of bonuses, they should not be given at all right? And they should have a performance improvement plan in place, what we call PIP. This is a very common term used, and most companies nowadays will have this in place, performance improvement plan. Once you are poor performance, there must be a plan drawn up to show the employees where are the areas of their weaknesses, what has to be done. Okay. Is it they have to attend certain training, or they have to go and learn from someone, their colleagues, or what else should they be doing? Okay, so this is an example of a PIP plan. So it is important to raise the concern, the performance concern or issue, the expected time frame for them to improve. Okay, when should they improve? 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, or whatever it is, depending on how serious is the issue. What are the resources given? Is there any training? Is there any mentor, guidance, coached? Okay. What are the resources? Sometimes it doesn't need to be that this person needs to be sent for an expensive training or course. Sometimes it could be on the job training, learning from a senior employee, or maybe watching certain training videos, okay, which can come free from YouTube, or reading a book is also part of resources, support given. And they must be followed up. They must be followed up by the managers in stages, interval, okay? So if you have to improve within 3 months, they must be followed up every month. Every 2 weeks to a month, there must be a session with the manager to look at the progress, the status of the improvement. And of course, the employees need to be aware of the consequences if they don't improve and continue to display the poor performance. What will happen to them? And most of the time, it is termination. So these are things that needs to be put in place, documents, records, and so forth. Okay. So this is very important, all right? Now, there was a question, okay, being asked. What are the criteria company use to assess an employee in terms of high potential and star performance? All right. Now, here you need to understand high potential and star performance are two different things. Okay. You can be a star performer, but you may not have high potential. Doesn't mean you are always excellent in your job as an engineer. Okay, you have high potential to become an engineering manager, or to become a manager. Some people are not good at manager. Okay? They are good at their work as an individual, but not good in their work. So when we look at performance appraisal, we are looking at the performance. So you measure about performance indicator, all right? But if you are looking at potential, okay, high potential, then the assessment factor is different from performance factors, all right? So potential here means moving up to become, taking on leadership, management skill. So in terms of that, we will be looking at certain factors such as your ability to strategize, okay, your creativity, okay, your business acumen, okay, your change management. Are you a champion of change? Okay, your communication skill. Okay, are you able, not only able to communicate, but are you able to influence as well, or convince, or negotiate? Okay, these are terms of factors associated with management and leaders. So these are factors that we will use to assess potential. Okay, that's where the 9 grid comes from. If some of you know what I mean by 9 grid boxes, okay, whether you are a star, whether you are normal or poor, okay, in the 9 boxes, the potential we use to look at are more of leadership management skills, okay? Whether you are able to achieve result, are you a result driven? Okay? Do you have certain values or commitment? All right. Are you able to develop and lead people? Okay. And in terms of so these are things that we look at when we look at potential. Okay, high potential assessment. So remember, star performance, when you look at star performance, we are looking at performance itself. So your rating, your assessment criteria are all very performance based. Okay. But when you're looking at potential, you should be looking at management, leadership kind of factors. Okay. So I hope I answered that question from one of the participants about high potential and star performance assessment factors. Okay. So, as I say, support is very important. Not only as a manager, you tell the employees about the weaknesses, make sure you give the person support, all right? Whatever support that is needed. So ask the employees, what are the support that you need, and so forth. That's why the employee should be doing most of the talking. So how can we help you? All right. So NuSmart, as I mentioned, we have a HR consulting services, and we also have our HRMS. Our HRMS has the performance management module that you can make use of, so you can therefore drive your performance with ease. Okay, less effort, less time needed. Okay, everything is automated. You can then even have your session virtually with your employees using our system. Okay, we have a performance module system, and you can set it up with goal setting. Okay, you can have in your performance assessment or performance factors as many as you want. It's a common template for you to customize. All right, then there are development plans and so forth. And for those companies who doesn't have performance management system, we can help you to develop one all right? And for those who have performance but want to go on to succession planning and so forth, talking about potential 9-box grid, we can help you to do that as well. So these are things that we can help you to move and advance to the next stage if you need help, all right? So I mentioned our HRMS, we do have a performance management module, all right? So that's come to the end of my session. And next month, I'll talk a little bit about Employment Act, which will be on 7th July, to let people understand more about the Employment Act. And then in August, I will talk about developing employees. That means training and development. How do we identify the training needs for employees? What kind of training is sending them for workshops, seminars good? What else can we do if we don't have the budget and so forth? All right. So this is what I will be covering in the slides, etc. Okay, in the next seminar. Of course, we do have our Monday Ask Me Anything session where you can approach me to ask anything about anything on HR. It can be recruitment, it can be HR policies, it can be certain issues in your company, all right? Anything that is bothering you and you need advice on how to handle such situation, feel free to log in and talk to me. I will be available for 1 hour, okay? And you can talk to me and I will give you the advice and so forth. Okay. Now we have just launched a poll survey on the webinar. Please complete it, okay, before you go off. And also, I will be hosting a 1-day Employment Act workshop. The 7th July is just a short brief, so it doesn't cover much in detail. This 1 day will be very in-depth coverage of the Employment Act. I've done twice now, 2 sessions, very interactive. The participant has commented that they have enjoyed, they have learned a lot, things that they never thought of about the Employment Act. It's not only just the Employment Act, we will also discuss a lot of common issues that happen in companies that are related to the Employment Act and how they should handle it, etc. All right. So do register if you want to learn more, because to be a good HR, you need to have a very good understanding of the Employment Act so that you can engage employees well.
Maurice?
Yes, Jolene, you have a question? Yeah. Yes, please.
I'll allow her to talk, maybe.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Jolene, you can just unmute yourself.
Hi.
Jolene? Yeah, Jolene?
Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, okay. I just want to check on some recruitment matters.
Okay.
Okay, say when we are making job offer to the candidate, right? And when we are negotiating on the salary, our company guideline is on the 50th percentile.
Okay.
Okay, but for certain positions, right, due to overwhelming response, we have a bigger pool of candidates to choose from. So is it ethical or is it right if we were to offer lower than the usual 50th percentile? Reasons being that we have a more wider pool to select. So it's to our advantage, in a sense. So is it right? Is it justifiable, or you think we should still base on the 50th percentile regardless of the pool of candidates that we have a wider choice to select from?
Okay, first, my answer is you need to be fair, okay, and equitable. If you want to continue to have good response, good candidates, good applicants coming in, all right. my advice is, of course, keep to the 50 percentile, even though you have good response for certain position. All right. But again, like I mentioned, please bear in mind that when you offer a salary, you will have to look at the employee or the candidate or applicant's background. All right. His skills, his knowledge, his experience, his qualification, and what he or she can bring to the company. That is very important. All right. So if he can bring in a lot of things for the company, then even offering him a 50 percentile may not be good. Okay, you may have to offer him higher. But if you find that he lacks the experience or not up to the mark, he's just mediocre, then you can offer him lower than the 50 percentile. So the 50 percentile is a principle that you use to try to make sure that you don't offer too low. But when you come to actual case, the time of offer, a lot of other factors you have to take into consideration. All right. The person's ability in terms of their skills, their knowledge, their experience, their qualification, and what they can bring to the company. Then if those are all mediocre, average, nothing fantastic, then my recommendation is offer at a 50% percentile market rate, so that the person will be happy. Of course, if the person is their expectation is below the 50 percentile, okay, because of their years of experience is lesser, then you offer him below the 50. What is his expectation? If you expect more, then you have to justify yourself whether you need to offer him more than 50%. If you can't and you need to offer him only at 50%, then you have to let him know. That's the company policy, and he has to prove himself before his salary will be adjusted. Okay. So if you don't offer 50%, keep to that policy or principle, you start to fluctuate. Then when people get to know about it, hey, this company, sometimes they pay below market rate and so forth. When word start to spread around, you will find that the number of applicants that you have will start to dwindle, become lesser and lesser, and you will have harder time recruiting. Okay, because people will not respect your company anymore. So building your company reputation is important, and image, and you now have very good image, very positive, because you can draw in response. Keep it up, and then continue to offer at market rate if you can. That's my advice. Did I answer your question?
Yes. So I've got another question also to add on. May I ask, let's say if do we pay according to the job scope itself? For example, between an assistant manager and the manager role, the manager will hold a greater responsibility and more job tasks. So the candidates that we are recruiting for that position will be paid the 50th percentile, for example, at this managerial role, even though the candidates, there are two candidates, for example, one with 10 years of experience and the other one with 5 years of experience and much younger. And the background that he's from, the previous company, say the salary was much lower because he was from an SME. And then there's another candidate who come from an NMC, so the salary is much higher. So do we pay according to the job scope? You know, like the manager, so you're only worth, let's say, 8K, for example. So regardless of the candidate that is coming on board, say the previous candidate last round salary was 4K, but we are able to pay up to 8K. And the one that come from an NNC, the last round salary was 7K. So, you know, there's a vast difference between these two candidates that we have shortlisted now. One 4K previous last round pay,
Yes.
and the other one
So-
is 7K. Do we pay up to 8K if we think that the job scope for this new candidate is expected this much? Yeah.
Well, I'm very surprised because if someone is 5 and someone is 10, in terms of experience, definitely there is a big gap. But
we see the potential for further development.
So you see potential in the young one, all right?
Yeah, yes.
So, but that doesn't necessarily means that you have to offer the young one at 8K, which is the midpoint of your salary range, 50% time. Okay, he's drawing 4. If you offer him, but you should not offer him. What is your minimum of that range? If it's 4K and you're asking for 5, 6K, okay, is below your 50% time. So you should try to keep him close to the 50% time.
Okay, the 50th percentile is 8K. The
So
50th
maybe you
percentile
can
is
offer
8K.
him at 5, 6K. Okay, so
Lesser than 50th percentile.
that lesser than 50 because his years of experience is much lesser, but he has the potential, he has the drive, he has certain set of good values and so forth that you want, or certain network that you want that he can contribute to the company. So it's good to pay him a little bit higher than what he is getting now, even though it's lower than your 50% time. You don't have to pay him 50% time. Okay, so it is okay. In that case, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for the clarification.
So remember that, okay?
Yes.
You don't have to meet the midpoint, okay? But if you pay him 6,000, if I'm that guy, I'll be very happy. Okay? And this happened to be a scenario of me when I become a HR manager. Okay, the salary range, the midpoint was, like you say, 8,000. I was drawing about 4, and they offer me about 6. Okay, 2,000 is, how many percent out of 4?
Correct.
4,000, 2,000 more is how much? How many percent already? All right, 50%, no?
Yeah.
50% jump in your new job.
Yes.
It's very big jump already. Most of the time, you only get like 15, 20%. You get 50%, 50 is a big jump. I'm very happy. I will work, I will work very hard for the company because they are so generous. Okay, I didn't know that when I go in, I said, the midpoint was 8,000. They can even pay me more. But I was satisfied already, which was, they pay me way above what my expectation was. My expectation was 5, 4, I jumped to 5. Pay me 6. So,
good for you.
So everybody's happy, company's happy because, I'm happy and it works out well. So it doesn't mean you must stick to the 50%. But for that senior guy with 10 years experience, all right, he's already drawing 7K. So if he comes in, he's expecting 8 and your midpoint is 8, offer him at 50%. Okay, don't shortchange him.
Okay, good.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. So for those participants who have this kind of question, this kind of issue in your workplace, do join my Ask Me Anything session. Okay, the next one is, I believe, next week, coming soon, next week. So do sign in and raise the question to me. I will be very happy to answer it. And we can discuss what you can do, how you can handle the situation and so forth. So feel free to join me in this Ask Me session.
Yep, the next session is actually next Saturday. Just for those who cannot make it on weekdays. But we do have, so it's every 2 weeks. So next one is next Saturday. Then the 2 weeks after that will be on a weekday. So we're just switching it up.
One weekday, one weekend, and one in the working hours, one off working hours. So
Yeah.
we give opportunity for those who can not make it during working hours.
Maurice, there's someone else who wants to ask a question.
Oh, sure. I'll be
Yeah.
more than happy.
Just allow
Just
them to talk
unmute them.
also.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So of those other people, if you want to listen and learn more, feel free to stay back. I know it's exceeded our time of 4 o'clock. For those who want to leave, feel free to join, leave. But those who want to stay and listen and learn more, you are more than welcome to stay back. And if you do have a question, feel free to ask as well.
Yeah, hi Maurice, this is Grace.
Hi, Grace.
Yeah, I always find your sessions very useful. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I have 2 questions regarding today's topic.
Yes.
Appraisals, basically. The first question, you mentioned earlier when appraisals should not take into consideration the staff's attitude or behavior. You should
Yes.
emphasize or focus on the performance, right?
Yes.
So they have this staff who performs very well. No issues about her work and task. She produces what we ask for and is always on time.
Okay.
However, her performance, her attitude is such that she will influence people in other teams, so-called other departments, to the point that it affects their work performance and also their behaviors. And then I get feedback from the department heads that my staff is, influencing her staff. So it becomes, a tendency for toxicity in the workplace. But I try to, during appraisals, of course, I don't put this in the appraisal, but I also get the opportunity to speak with her, also discuss about where she can improve, areas of improvement. She also confesses that, she has some impatient dealing with people and all that. So, but if you are saying we do not take into consideration the attitude, do you actually mean not to put in an appraisal, but we can still talk about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be separated from the performance appraisal. It should be not part and parcel. So for this situation, don't wait until performance review, then come and talk to her about this influencing issue of hers. Okay. You can talk to her now. Okay, when the other department head has raised that your staff is influencing or affecting the other department work, you should straight away call her in and talk to her already. All right. And of course, the first thing is to understand what is going on. Okay, there is always 2 sides of the coin. Okay, so some people may complain about her influencing them, but sometimes she's not, but she's trying to get things done, but people are not happy that she's very pushy. They will complain to their boss that this guy, this person, this lady is coming to our department and disturbing us and so forth, and send a very negative remark to their bosses. So you need to look at 2 sides of the coin, get her in, get her to talk. Why is she going to the other department? What is the purpose? And so forth. Maybe she's trying to get things done, or maybe she's trying to improve certain processes that involve the other department. Because if they don't do it right, then it affects her work in your department. You never know. There are so many angles, so many possibilities. So it's good to get her to sit down with you and talk about the issue. Be very open. What is the issue? And see what she needs. Okay, what's the problem? What she needs. If she has no issue, she's just going there, small talks and bad mouthing things, people and so forth. Then that is attitude, and then you can come down and say she should not do that. She should refrain from bad mouthing people and so forth in other departments, etc. Going to other department and bad mouthing people of other department in the company. But if it's work related, then maybe you can talk to her how she can approach instead of going directly herself. Maybe she can come to you and talk to you, get some support, get some resources, and then see how you can help her to connect with the other department and work it out. Okay. So let's listen to her problem, to her issue, what is actually going on, to her side of the story, before we say that, oh, she has an attitude problem and so forth.
Yeah, so actually I have spoken with her several times, and I kind of know why she's doing that. It's more of a power play. She needs to get some things done, and she's trying to buy people over to her side. So, you know, it's that kind of power play, and as a result, the people are easily influenced by her. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm dealing with that as we go along, not waiting for the appraisal. So my second question is related to this person as well, because she's a performer. So I tried to, at the appraisal, I tried to ask whether she's ready to take on more responsibilities so that the company can also, you know, expose her to greater, you know, areas where she can expand her potential. But her response was actually, if I'm not getting extra pay, I won't do it. I just want to do what I do. So then if she's a good performer in what she's already doing, then how do I actually, you know, tap her potential and help her progress in her career in that sense?
Okay. This is something that I always tell my staff, okay? Don't be afraid to take on new things, all right? Even though you're not paid, you are not rewarded. Don't be afraid, because by taking on new areas, new things to do, you are learning. It's a learning process. And at the same time, you are getting and gaining experience. And this is something that is very valuable. It's worth a lot of money. Okay? Because after you gain that experience, nobody can take away from you. It's yours. Okay? You will not lose it. So don't be afraid. So for this lady, my advice is talk to her again, say, hey, I see you have good potential to develop yourself to the next level. But to go to the next level, you need certain skill set, certain competency, and so forth. And we need to see that you are able to do it, to perform it. Then we can move you to the next level and reward you, give you the promotion. But you need to prove to us. We cannot promote you, give you everything, promote you, and then you cannot do it. And we have to demote you. Then that will be even more painful for you. So it's good that, you know, we test you, we give you some assignment, some project, okay, some new areas to do. And if you can do it well, okay, I will move you to the next level, and I will also recommend you salary increase or promotion increase and so forth. So let her know what is your plan. Okay, be open to her, tell her what you are expecting from her. Right? So once you hear that, oh, you are preparing to promote her and you want her to prove herself, she is more than willing to do the work. And also do tell her, by doing the additional work, it is not something that people can take away, because it is a new experience for her by learning new areas. Okay? So this is very important. To me, as a manager, it's a way of communicating to the employee. Always put the positive side to the employee. What is it in for them? Huh? Not what is it in for you. What benefit you is what benefit them. By taking on the new responsibility, additional work, what is it in for them? If they see by taking on the new additional work, it means I will get my promotion next year, I will go for it. All right. Or if I'm going to get a big fat increase because of the additional responsibility, I will go for it. Of course, if you do that and go for it, and you don't give her, you don't recommend promotion, or you don't give her a jump in salary, the next time you ask her, to take on new responsibility, you can tell yourself goodbye. She will not take it. Okay, so there must be trust. So if she sees that, oh, you ask her to do and she get rewarded, the next time you ask her to do more, she will do for you willingly. And even she, as you say, she's very bossy. She may even influence your other staff to do more work in order to get extra.
Yeah. So actually, some of my other staff, I've been exposing them and they have volunteered to take on greater portfolios, which then in turn we give them additional allowances and all that, which
yes,
the other staff have proven that they can do it. And it's only this particular staff who is really unwilling. But yeah, thanks for sharing.
But if she continue, you let her know. Don't have to wait until performance appraisal. In between this period, any time, sit down with her and talk. Hey, why are you not taking on additional responsibility? You know, you doesn't want to progress in the company, man. Do you not want to move to the next level? Do you not want to get a better salary? Are you happy now? What's bothering you? You know, ask her to open up to you. Then maybe she can tell you, oh, last time you asked me to do this, do that. I do for you. But at the end, what did I get? I get nothing. I get the blame, I get scolding, and I don't get rewarded. She may open up to you all this long time past history that she has kept deep inside her heart, you know. So go and talk to her, ask her to open up to you, see what she has kept in her heart for so long, why she is not opening up, you know, helping you to take on new tasks, new responsibility. And try to do this chit-chat, you know, on a casual basis, not during performance appraisal. Maybe have lunch with her, or you know, have off work kind of things, and sit down with her, talk to her as a friend, and understand a little bit what she's thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because the background was actually I took over this few staff from another manager who left last year.
So maybe it's because of trust. You are new. They may not trust you. They do not know how good you are, how supportive you are to them. Okay. And she may also be angry because you have taken away her opportunity.
Oh, no, it's a different portfolio.
So I do not know, but I'm just saying that she may. So you have to go and talk to her and understand her better as a manager in terms of her character, and try to be a friend to her. So, and then once they trust you, they will support you and so forth.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Maurice.
Okay, don't mention. Anyone else have anything like to ask? Feel free. If not, all right. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in the next session. And if you still have questions, I know because of today's timing, I may not be able to drill into your issue much more. Join me in the Ask Me Anything session, and then we can talk a little bit more. And we can brainstorm, share experience, and you will definitely gain more. So hope to see you again. Thank you.
Yes, thanks everyone again for joining us. We have and for staying back and really asking your questions. I think it's a good session. So hope to see you again, as Maurice has said also. Do let me know, email me if you have any questions, and I'll just send them over to Maurice as well.
Yes, so sometime send us the question, and then I will see you at the meet the session and we can discuss about it.
Yep. So for those Ask Me Anything sessions, you can just go to our LinkedIn page under events and just sign up for any of the sessions by just clicking register. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Thanks everyone again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.